your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
It's the Mohr Stories podcast with my friend Jay Leno.
That's right.
We were talking before we rolled about how I think what were you saying? What guy said about the 90s?
Oh, no, just talking to young people. I mean people under like 30. This guy goes, back in the 90s, people were really stupid back then. Really? What part of the 90s was stupid? It just makes me laugh. Just very funny.
And my counter was, I think right now is the dumbest time in the history of mankind. But I don't know. Revolutionary War time was pretty dumb. Fighting in the snow with bright red uniforms on, that was pretty dumb.
Yeah, but that's what war was. It was completely different. The idea of
standing in a straight line.
Well, yeah, men face one another. It's like you stand in the ring and punch each other in the face. It doesn't make any sense either, but
How long was your drive to come in?
It wasn't bad, but there's some sort of stupid standoff in Griffith Park.
Really?
Some guy in an SUV is holding the cops at bay, and they shut the exit ramps on the 5. And so, I left Beverly Hills at 8:30, so...
Gee whiz.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
Beverly Hills, who are you?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm in Playa Vista by the airport. I
apologize for that. Yeah.
What car did you take here?
It's a 2015 Mustang GT350R. Great bike. Great dude.
My first car was a
motorcycle.
Mustang GT 1992 convertible. And when I went to go buy it, I brought a guy from Southie with me, Chappie.
Right.
And he used to sell cars when he was on crack. He was a crackhead that sold cars.
Oh, yeah, that seems logical.
In Southie. And so the
guy...
In Boston, yeah. And the guy, Terry, at Galpin Ford, goes, look, it's the best I could do. And Chappie from South Boston goes, Terry, it's a little warm for a ski mask, Terry. Why you robbing him? You're forgetting about this rebate, this, that. He goes, let me go talk to my manager. He goes, it's 11 o'clock on a Wednesday, Terry. Nobody's in there. So he just completely... devoured this guy, and I got it for like sticker.
Oh, there you go. That's
and
very
about
good.
6 months went by, and I would go, do I get free oil changes? I called up, and he goes, are you going to bring that guy Chippy or Chucky? I go, Chappie? He goes, yeah, are you going to bring that guy? I go, no, he lives in Boston. He goes, keep that guy away. I'll give you free oil changes for 5 years.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good deal.
Do you, how are you doing? Like, what's...
I'm good. I'm doing fine.
You're just one of the good guys. I love seeing you at the Improv
I enjoy doing those shows. It's fun.
When you're on the show, you're sort of like my anti-hack. Like, you raise the bar for me by being there because I don't want to let you down. Because I look at you as such not an authoritative...
Well, I think all comics look at each other that way. I feel the same way when I'm there. I go, these are all quality guys, so I want to do good. Yeah, so it's funny. I think I think if you're a comedian, you have a certain inferiority complex. I'm a huge believer in low self-esteem. I mean, it's the key to success. If you don't think you're the smartest person in the room, you shut up and listen. When I did the Tonight Show, let me hire the best director, best lighter, best lighting people, whatever I could find. And when they told me the show sucked. I didn't argue with them. And I have other friends that when they got shows, here's what I want. Well, I've been lighting for years now. No, this is what I want. Okay. And then they tell me... there are only 4,000 recorded geniuses in history. I've met 3,800 of them here. So that should give you some idea. Yeah.
Your first band leader was which Marsalis, Branford or Whitney?
Branford, yeah, Branford.
But why? What happened that he left and became Kevin? Thankfully, it was Kevin Eubanks. But
Kevin was, yeah. I don't think it was Branford's thing, really.
That's why I was amazed that you had him, because he's like a Miles Davis protege. I
was Miles' opening act.
Okay, let's just go to that.
I was Miles' opening act, yeah.
I opened for guitar acts on the road in Connecticut and Pittsfield, Massachusetts. You're opening for Miles Davis?
Well, no, there's a place called Lenny's on the Turnpike in Boston. There were no comedy clubs. I worked strip joints, the Hillbilly Ranch, and all those places in Boston. And went out to Lenny's. I told him, maybe stand in front of his desk and do my act. He said, that's pretty good. I told him, I got Buddy Rich coming in next week. You want to open for Buddy? Okay. So it's my first gig ever, anywhere. So I get there, and they go, please welcome Jay Leno. And you hear a guy go, we hate him! He sucks! I'm thinking, well, did they see me come in? Did they know
Was this
my
a strip
parents?
club or a jazz club?
No, this is a jazz club.
Lenny's on the Turnpike.
Yeah. But the one great thing about working at Lenny's was when they said your name, people, they stopped to listen because they're jazz audiences. They're there to listen. You know, working strip joints, it's just yelling and screaming and just nothing. But this was like, oh, shh. I was stunned. Yeah, and opening for Buddy Rich was interesting. Yeah, he was a very volatile guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you ever see him get physical with people?
Well, I'm just, very, hey, there's a lot of that.
Bossing people around.
Yeah, bossing people around. Yeah.
What would have happened if you just decided to go up and sit behind Buddy Rich's drum kit between sets?
Well, why would I do that?
Well, because it's a hypothetical world where you're bizarro Jay Leno.
No, but I wouldn't do that.
I know you wouldn't. That's why.
That's what I'm saying. That's what. Hey, what if I just punched him in the face? Well, yeah.
What if my aunt had a dick? Would she be my uncle?
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I tend to avoid a lot of those questions.
Were you able to have? You know what? Fair enough. Were you able to have like conversations with Miles Davis? Because he seems like just a world unto himself.
Something angry guy, but with a reason to be angry. I mean, Boston, black guy driving a Lamborghini Mohr in Boston. He would get pulled. Whose car is this?
Mine.
Why are you in this car? He never really got to respect, and so he would just a hostile, angry guy. And he would sometimes be 90 minutes late for a show, and I just be on stage dancing around. Yeah, kid, you're okay, but bring on Miles. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He was 90 minutes late. He would show up whenever. But it was interesting. Herbie Hancock was in the band, and in fact, when I had Herbie on the show, do you remember Lenny's on? He goes, yeah. Do you remember a young comedian? Oh yeah, who was that? I goes, that was me. He goes, oh yeah, that was you. Yeah. So it was kind of interesting. Yeah, but I didn't. I was very deferential. I never assumed I was one of the band, so I always kept my distance, and so it's not like I was hanging with Miles.
Well, yeah, but did he ever give you like a good job, or was there ever like words of encouragement from Miles Davis?
Not really. No, it didn't really go that far. How are you, sir? And I said, hey, big fan. Witch's Brew, great. Bitches Brew, great album.
Yeah, this is like when Miles Davis was absolutely at his absolute best, but after kind of Blue and yeah.
I guess that's right. Yeah. He was, but it was all his Stan Getz, Mose Allison, Amon Javal, Rashawn Roland Kirk. Did you ever see Rashawn Roland Kirk?
No, I'm a jazz guy, so all those names you just said.
Rashawn Roland Kirk he was blind. He would come out.
So he says.
He would come out with a dashiki, but he could play two instruments at once. He could hold a note, and then blow through the other side and play like two clarinets at the same time. I mean, it was amazing to see, and I would do gigs with him. I remember we did a gig in Philly, and he walks out with the dashiki. There's a young brother here, gonna tell it like it is. They do this whole thing like I was black. Please welcome Jay Leno, and the audience go, yeah, right on. Look, and I go, shh, don't tell him I'm not black.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And Ross on Roller Car thought that was we did that joke almost every night. He thought that was like the funniest thing because the audience would be all up to hear this young brother, and I'd get up, and what's going on? Shh, don't think so black.
That's really wow.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Don't you like when you work with somebody where there's like a built-in joke like that? You just start your set off with something phenomenal, or even if like the opening act closes with something absurd that you get to go on and go like a guy, somebody stole his shopping cart and it only had two wheels on it anyway, and then you get to go up next and go, so I get this shopping cart with two wheels on it. You get to piggyback his joke. It's like the easiest weekend.
That is fun. But that's kind of why I only worked with Sinatra once. I really didn't like it because it was a couple of times. It was some days it's Mrs. Sinatra. It's always what's his mood,
Oh.
So I didn't really like that. But I'll tell you a funny Sinatra story.
Yes.
I was working with Perry Como at the time. And Perry Como was supposed to do Duke University, and he got a sore throat or sick or something. So he asked Frank Sinatra would you fill in for me? Frank said, yeah, Perry, no problem. Which is amazing to me that anybody would not turn that. That's how Joey Bishop got, that's how Joey Bishop got kicked out of the Rat Pack.
No.
Oh,
Now
okay.
you got to tell me 2 stories.
Yeah, well, first, I'm going to tell you, Joey.
Yeah.
Sinatra had a gig, and for some reason he couldn't do it. He said, Joey, can you fill in for me with so-and-so? He goes, yeah, you know, Frank, my fee is $50,000. And Frank said, I need you to do this, you know, which I get that. I mean, that makes sense to me. You don't ask, you just do it. And Joey Bishop was adamant. No, you know, that's what I get. I get $50,000. Okay.
Oh my gosh!
And he never worked with the Rack Pad again, ever.
That probably, yeah. Wow.
That was the end of it. He was an odd guy, Joey Bishop.
I get Frank's side more than Joey's side.
Yeah, that's right. So do I. Because like one day I had Joey Bishop on the Tonight Show in the early '90s, and Louis Anderson was the second guest. So,
Hey.
yeah. So Joey Bishop comes out. He's fine. Yeah, okay. So then Louis Anderson's doing his stand-up. I'm watching, and I feel his tug. Hey, you think that's funnier than what I did? I go, you think he's funnier than me? I said, well, I mean, he's a stand-up comedian. You're a naturally funny guy. You know, he's just doing his thing. Yeah, but you think that's funny? And I could see Louis, what's going on, you know, because I'm the host. You're supposed to be watching the act, you know. And I'm going, and he was like, I couldn't believe this. He was like, no, it's too different. And then he's kind of rude to Louis when he came over.
Well, you said you're a fan of low self-esteem.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just very odd. Anyway,
and we'll come back to the Sinatra story, but as a host, when a guy like Louis comes out, when a guy like Drew Carey comes out, that first Drew Carey, how does that feel? Did you like, oh wow, we finally we broke a guy? Like, what a great feeling that must be.
Oh, yeah, it is great. It is great. I find comedians very supportive of one another. I mean, Joey Bishop was not, obviously.
He stinks.
But yeah.
I'll say it. Joey Bishop stinks, and he always stunk.
Yeah, but not good. Anyway, so Sinatra's filling in for Perry Como at Duke University, which is 30 years ago really the heart of the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
You know? So Sinatra goes out to fly me to the moon. The whole crowd goes crazy, you know. And he goes, thank you. It's a nice town. Where do you get a drink around here? Nothing. And he does like maybe was the mic off, you know. And he does like that old joke about Vegas, you know, if there's not a girl in your room, they send one up. There he goes, strangers, and they go crazy. Every time he sang, they went crazy. Every time he did one of his kind of saloon jokes, just nothing. And he came off, you could see like flops. He goes, what's going on? I go, it's a Bible Belt, you know. He goes, oh yeah, geez, yeah. It just made me laugh. It was just very funny.
That's amazing. I saw Sinatra in like 1990. The story is like when he retired, he went home and Barbara was like, oh, you're not staying here. Like, I got a good life for myself. You better get back out there and do some road work.
I worked on him. I was with him the night his mother died. Remember, she was in a private plane. The plane crashed into a mountain.
No, I don't know this.
In Lake Tahoe, yeah.
Oh, my God. Sinatra's mom died in a jet that he brought for her?
Frank was waiting for her to show up.
So he sends the jet for her?
I think so.
Okay.
I guess so, sure. And anyway, that's when she died. So they made the announcement on stage, and it was pretty awful. Yeah, it was sad.
The summer wind.
Yeah. Just,
when I saw him in 1990, it was at Radio City, and he was really old. 90, it was 90, really old. But it was still Sinatra, and he's wearing the tux, and I remember he had like index cards on stage, and that's one joke per index card. Like Mayor Marion Barry has a plan to cut crime by 50% in Washington D.C. He's moving to Baltimore, and he would take the car. And it was like even Sinatra, like everybody wants to be a comedian.
Well,
like you're Sinatra. There's no reason you should be taking this break.
Well, I'll tell you a great Bob Hope story. I had Bob Hope in the Tonight Show when he was like 100, literally almost 100, and he was fine, but he was kind of vain. He wouldn't wear his hearing aids. Okay, so he said, "Jay, here's what's going on." Okay. I got 10 jokes. You just give me the setup. I'll give you the punchline. Oh, okay. So that's So I got the 10 things. So Bob, da-da-da, big laugh. Okay. Hey Bob, let me ask you about that. Da-da-da, big laugh. And then I make this break going, yeah, it was funny. Da-da-da. Okay, now we're one line over. Okay. So I'm like, oh, no, hang on. I did, ba-da-da-da. So now we're like 2 jokes, 3 jokes. We had to edit the whole show to get it to
He just had it memorized in order.
He had it memorized in order. And yeah.
No ad-libbing, Jay.
No ad-libbing.
That's when he had like the runny eyes. It was like, stop wheeling him out.
Well, here's a secret. If you ever watch any of the old specials, he wouldn't wear his glasses on stage either. So one day I'm at NBC, and I see these 2 guys carrying what looks like a plate glass window, like this. It's a cue card with hello written on it. Okay.
The fuck out of here.
Okay. So, and the cue cards would be right, like where you are now would be, you'd be a cue card guy,
Yeah.
and I'd be Bob Hope. And if you watch the shows, after every joke, you see his hair go, because the cue card would drop, and it would push his hair up. So if you didn't know it, you'd think, oh, it must be a fan on in the room or something. But if you know what's going on, it's kind of funny to watch you see.
I'm going on YouTube the second I get home.
Oh yeah. Check it out.
Who, when you did the, well, let's go back to the Bob Hope at 100 thing. Do you, because you probably saw a lot of aged celebrities.
Oh, yeah.
They're always very applauded. But it's like at one point, like when they were bringing Kirk Douglas out post-stroke at the Oscars and stuff, at home, like I'm uncomfortable. And I know everybody's like, oh, good for him. But at some point, it's like, did you ever feel uncomfortable? Like maybe keep this guy at home?
You know, he was a tough guy.
Yes.
I mean, he crashed a helicopter. He walked away. I don't know what happened to everybody else, but yeah, I mean, he was
he was flying for the UN.
I would
all
always
40 hostages died.
Every time when I get invited to the Academy Awards dinner, the table would be me, George Slaughter, who was like 94, and Kirk Douglas, who was 103. You know, so the 3 of us would be at this table every year. It just made me laugh. But I mean, he was pretty sharp, and he was a real. You know, he fought for actors' rights and all that kind of stuff, and against the blacklist, and he was quite a guy. I mean,
how did those guys like Kirk Douglas, like how did they shave that? Like they got that giant
I have
dimple
no, you know, I didn't really ask. It
on
really
their chin.
wasn't-
Like I don't know how they shaved that little divot right here.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's why you host the Tonight Show.
Never really
and I have a
came up,
podcast in an airplane hangar in Burbank.
Yeah, exactly.
Who, guest-wise, had the biggest entourage where it was comical?
Oh, MC Hammer, 300 people.
What?
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny.
Did you say 300?
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story about MC Hammer. Smitty, our drummer, and MC Hammer had a good sense of humor. MC Hammer, in his skits, he would play MC Hammer. You know, so we had MC Hammer on the show. I said, hey, do you ever see Smitty, do you? He goes, yeah, it's all right. I go, no. Be ripshit. When you see him in the hall, okay, just tell him how pissed off you are at him, right? So
Smitty, the drummer.
Yeah, so we got the camera set up, right? And Smitty comes out, and I'm saying, hey, Smitty, you think it's funny doing me? And Smitty will write, it was Leno. Leno made me, he threw me under the bus within a second. Not, oh, it's just a skid or what. It was Leno. Leno made me do it. I don't. And MC Hammer actually falls over laughing. He's laughing so hard because Smitty he throws me to the walls right away. Of hilarious, right?
300 people in an entourage. That's
huge. Some kind of crazy thing like that. Yeah.
I did a small movie once, and Katt Williams, who I adore, and I hope he comes on this podcast for sure. But he had 2 hair people with him on set at all times.
Yeah.
But he was wearing a bandana and a hat.
Yeah.
But they were always like those little things that peek out the bottom. They'd like touch it up, and I was like, "This is." But I think also, I feel like especially with African American stars, it's probably smart to keep like people around you. It's like a buffer for people.
You know what's
like
funny? That I
trouble.
think I remember years ago I played the Trafalmador in Buffalo, New York.
That's the worst name for a place I've ever heard of.
Trafalmador.
Trafalmador?
Yeah, but it was a club. And they had just had a rap group from New York at the club the previous week who had some huge hit, one-off hit. And they went there. And they were insulted because the dressing room was small, and they thought, oh, it's because they're black and they're from the city. They got the bad dressing room. They had big, but they didn't. It was just the nature of the business. They really thought,
Yeah.
you know, and I really felt bad for them. I was like, no, they were insulted, and they left. And the owner of the club was, no, this is really all we got. We don't. They can't believe it. All the big acts had played there and stayed in the. But that's what real show business is.
Yeah, they're all real small and weird.
Yeah, they're all really. Only in Vegas you really get something that's.
Oh, they're
out of the
absurd. And then you go to your hotel room and there's an extra bedroom.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
like, well, you got to figure out which one I want to sleep
exactly,
in.
Yeah.
In proximity to. It always boils down for me. If somebody breaks in here to kill me, which is the longest walk for that guy, and give me more time to wake up. Like with me and my wife sleep,
Right.
I always sleep closer to the door, so the guy has to go through me to get to her.
Right.
Because chivalry's not dead.
Well, that's kind of.
I just made that up.
Actually,
My wife and I have separate bedrooms. I don't even know why I just said that. We do, actually.
Yeah. Well,
The secret?
I get more information I need to know, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, it's more. Doug Benson once called this more digressions.
Right. Okay.
So, MC Hammer, you don't strike me as an entourage guy. Do you ever just bring somebody on the road with you?
No, I don't bring anybody on the road.
No opening act?
No, because they come on the road with you for a year, and then they write a book, My Year with a Prick, or something like that. I mean, there's no upside to having somebody. And the other thing to have somebody is...
Hold on a second. That was really funny.
Well, they speak for you. You get this.
Yeah.
I was doing a show once. I'm on stage, and this woman keeps going, you got the book. I'll sign. Meet me right by the door there. I'll sign for it. Okay. So I come off stage. I hit the door and hear the guy go, Mr. Leno left strict instructions not to let anyone. I go, no, I didn't. No, why are you disappointing this? I told this fan. So I just, I like to do. I don't have an agent. I don't have a manager. I just do it myself because this is when people go, like, if the club says Leno sucks, we don't want him back. What'd they say about me? They really liked you. They're just overbooked right now. I mean, no. I want to hear the real answer. I sucked, and tell me why I sucked and whatever. And that's why I like to do that. And plus, funny stuff happens when you travel by yourself. When you're insulated.
Yeah, you roll down a hill. What the hell was that?
Yeah, that's what's really
Walk
funny
me through
about
that.
No, I was in Pittsburgh doing a gig.
A lot of hills.
And it's kind of rainy, and I say, where's this place to eat? And the guy goes, down there. And I go, okay. He goes, do you have a car? I go, no. Oh, well, it's about 1.5 miles. You have to go down the road. And it goes, well, why don't I just go down the hill? He goes, well, it's kind of a steep hill. And, of course, I got dress shoes on, I go, I'll go down the hill. So I take a couple of steps and just fall on my ass. Just smash my face up.
You got banged up.
All this kind of stuff. But the funny thing is, all these stupid rumors start. I got beat up by the mob. Like the mob would drive to Greenburgh, Pennsylvania, wait on a hilly night at the Hampton Inn for me to check in. But I see something on the internet, and I go to it, and it's the Jay Leno challenge. These guys go to the hill and they throw them. They think I was faking it. So they threw themselves down the hill. One guy broke his arm. So they were trying to recreate what I did to show that it wasn't dangerous. And they're all like, ow, my arm, ow, my leg.
And you did the show?
Yeah. I did the show that night, yeah.
What was the venue?
A theater. I mean, it was a nice,
Yeah, I mean, do you go up and go, okay, just so you guys know, the reason
Well, I had an eye patch on.
Where do you get an eye patch in Hempstead, Pennsylvania?
Well, I went to the CVS and bought an eye patch, yeah. Well, that was a great thing.
Hold on. I'd like to be working at a CVS where Jay Leno walks in.
Well, that's what happened. When I turned on Inside Edition, they then went to the restaurant. What did Leno order? He ordered the chicken parmesan. What is that exactly? Well, it's a chicken breast with Parmesan, and the guy explained what chicken Parmesan was. It just made me laugh. And this is all on Jim Murray on Inside Edition.
Yeah, so me and my wife were watching it.
Yeah.
She says hi, by the way.
I'll give her a pass.
I will. And the thing is, see, if that happened to me, that exact same thing happened to me, everyone just immediately assumes I've relapsed.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God, he's back on drugs. Yeah. Oh, sure, you fell down a hill to go get a chicken Parmesan.
Yeah. But that is what happened. So anyway, then my eye just slammed shut. So I thought, oh, well, I can live with one eye. And I went to CVS. I bought an eye patch, okay? And after like 2.5 days, I thought, boy, and then one day, bing, oh, the eye just opened. I went, oh, I guess I'm okay.
Nothing really rattles you, does it?
No, I was deaf in this ear. My father was deaf in this ear. So when I got to be in my 70s, I guess I'm deaf in this ear.
Are you deaf in your left ear?
Well, no, let me finish.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So for 6 months, I'm deaf in this ear. Right? And every time I move my head, I feel like water going. What's that? That's kind of weird. All right. So then I have I have a cold coming. I got some gigs, so I go see Sugarman, my voice doctor guy. He's the best voice guy in Beverly Hills. He goes, oh, let's take a look. He puts the thing. He goes, any trouble with it here? I said, yeah, I'm deaf in this ear. He goes, hang on, and he pulls out 2 broken Q-tips. He goes, can you hear now? I go, it's a miracle.
How do you not know you broke a Q-tip
I don't know.
off in your ear?
It didn't break off, just a cotton part had come off, and there were 2 of them in there, and I just didn't realize it, so I was no longer deaf. It was fabulous.
But even like the closed eye, deaf in one ear, like you seem to take everything in stride. Like what? There's got to be something that rattles you.
Well, no, of course it rattles you. Broken ribs are bad.
Yes.
When pain is constant, it becomes the new normal. So, that's all right. Like when my face got burned, it really wasn't that bad. I mean, it was better than a broken leg, because a broken leg is 6 weeks. The face thing, I missed 8 days. I missed 2 shows. So that wasn't bad. But with a broken rib, you're fine until you go,
How'd you break your rib?
I had a motorcycle accident when
I had a bruised rib. It wasn't even broken.
Yeah.
And it was killing me.
Oh, yeah, it's unbelievable.
Because I was coaching wrestling at the time, so it never healed. I kept getting banged up, and I was on a flight, a red eye to Boston.
Yeah.
And I brought ice. I had to travel with ice packs.
Right.
And I'm on the flight, and the flight attendant, this man comes over, and he kneels next to me and goes, Mr. Mohr, I noticed you have ice on your ribs. This is when I was deep in my addiction. He goes, would you like a pain pill? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, I have Advil, Tylenol. I go, get the fuck away from me.
That's funny.
Like I thought I was going to really be flying.
Yeah, no. See, I'm not a pill guy.
You're lucky.
Yeah, no, I know.
Are you afraid of snakes?
No.
Spiders? Nothing? Sharks?
No. Well,
Small British children?
I don't really encounter sharks that often, so it's not, geez, there's a shark,
Have you ever skydived?
No, it doesn't interest me.
No, me neither.
It would if there was some sort of vehicle involved. If you could be on a glider or something. But the idea of just falling out of a plane and you pull a string, that doesn't interest me. I can't control my own fate that way.
Yeah, it's like teasing God, I think. Are you a religious guy at all?
No.
Succinct. Do you, when you were doing Lenny's on the Turnpike, did you book that yourself also? It's because your Wikipedia page says that you actually started a comedy club.
No, I didn't start a comedy club. And it also says my mother is a Scottish filmmaker. What? No, none of that is true.
Well,
it just
maybe they had some secrets.
No,
I
didn't do that. No, I didn't start.
Dad.
I would never have started a comedy club. That wasn't my thing. I like to have sex. I don't want to be a gynecologist. Okay, so to me,
Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. So to me, I like being a comedian, running a club, dealing with wacky comics. No,
but I don't think there was any comics around like in '77. It's like gluten. It didn't exist yet.
Yeah. Well, I guess there were some. Boston was a funny place to start.
Who, did you have peers? When did you start?
No, I was lucky.
77? No, Tonight Show was 77.
I started 69.
69.
I never met another comic.
How do you even know you're a comedian if there's nothing?
Well, that's what I mean. I didn't know how bad I was. So when I was at Lenny's, that was like a great one. I enjoyed that. I remember working. I worked in a comedy club in Boston. I don't know if I told you this story. And I'm on stage, and they're seated in the audience while I'm on. I hear this guy, there's a pole in front of me. I said, just sit down and watch the show. There's a pole in front of me. Then I hear, ah! What's that? And I see him dragging the guy out. So I finish the show. I come off stage. What happened? They go, that guy was... So Billy the bouncer took a knife, put it in the guy's leg, and just slashed his leg. They gave him $20, put him in a cab, and sent him home. Okay. 6 months go by. I get a call in L.A. Hey, Jay, remember Billy the bouncer, the guy that helped you? What do you mean, guy that helped me? Remember that guy was complaining about it and Billy stabbed him? I go, that really didn't help me. But what's the problem? And then they said my favorite line. He said, well, Billy killed the guy, and now the cops are hassling him. And I actually said to the guy, I said, you think they go after real criminals instead of picking on guys like Billy? The guy goes, that's right, man. It's unfair. But anyway, he just goes right over and said, can you help him out? I go, well, no, I can't help him. I can't help him out, really. I mean, first I don't know the guy, and he didn't really help me.
He did a solid for you, Jay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was just very odd.
This is in Boston.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about going to working in Boston those days.
When you left Andover and you go to Emerson College, one of my favorite stories, it was one of those times when on The Tonight Show you'd always come into the dressing room and say hi to the guest, which to this day is the classiest, smart and good for you in the long run.
Well, some people think not. Johnny used to feel, and Letterman too, that you might say something you could have said on the air, which the element of surprise, which was different, but yeah.
It meant a lot to me.
Did you ever do prisons?
Yeah, I love speaking. I don't do stand-up in prisons, but I do.
Oh, I did Walpole State Prison.
I spoke in Walpole, for recovery.
Oh no, I did it. This is my favorite thing. I had a bit where I said, and you have to remember, prison cultural mores are different and I was doing this. You ever know when you meet a girl and you're not quite sure how to approach her? This guy yells, just punch her in the face and fuck her, man! And the whole audience cheers, and I go, well, I just said, well, thank you, Lefty. I appreciate that.
Lefty.
I was just the only prison name I could think of. And it just made me laugh. It's just because I realized I'm so out of my element. Because so much of comedy is based on...
Just punch her in the face and fuck her, man.
Yeah, but so much of comedy is based on... what's the word I want? Just conventional thought, conservative. I mean, comedy's funny because you start conservative and it goes to the outrageous, So much comedy now starts out outrageous, so it doesn't nearly seem as funny.
Well, you've always been like that, because your Tonight Show, your first one in the green suit, which I hope you still have.
I still have that green suit. Well,
no, you do not have that green suit.
Yes,
still.
I do. It's in my closet, because I did a movie, and I got the suit for free in the movie. It's really funny, because I came to Hollywood. I just got on a plane. I was sitting in my apartment in Boston, and I realized friends of mine who were trying to get into show business, singers, actors, they got a new car. They wanted to get a new couch for their apartment. And they took jobs to pay for this stuff. And I realized if I stay here, I'm going to fall into that. I'm not going to make enough money. I'm going to have to get a regular job. I said, I'm just going to go to Hollywood. So I got on a plane and went to Hollywood. Okay. I'm here a week. I'm living in the street. I'm crossing the street in front of that hotel right next to the Comedy Store. And this car stops. This guy gets out. It's you. Are you an actor? You actor? Yeah. I am Ivan Passer. He was a director. He did some. Anyway, I'm doing a movie with Michael Caine. We stopped filming in London. You are perfect for this part. You want to be in movie? I said, yeah. Go see Selinski and Winters, I think it was. They're the producers there. So I go to Selinski and Winters. I walk in, and they go, oh, Ivan just called. You the guy? I said, yeah, all right. Well, we shoot Morocco. I'm going to Morocco. I'm going to someplace. Yeah, okay. So it pays $25,000. I go, that's fine. I don't know. So I called my mom from Morocco. She goes, how's it in Hollywood? I go, I'm in Morocco now, Ma. What happened? I said, a director put me in a movie. She goes, what? What are you talking about? But that's what happened. I was crossing the street, and I got picked to be in this movie. Sybil Shepherd was in it, Tommy Smothers, Martin Balsam, Stefan Audran. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Which movie was that?
A movie called The Silver Bears, which...
Okay, and then you did the one with Pat Morita, 1989, which I've watched.
It was a horrible movie.
What was it called?
Oh, it was called The Collision Course.
And Chris Sarandon as the villain.
Yeah, it's just a terrible movie. Terrible movie. I mean, it's one of these movies where it's about the guy knew nothing about cars, the director. So somebody invents a turbocharger, to make the car really fast. So we have it, and we're being chased. And the director said, okay, next scene, you're going to pull over, open the hood, put the turbocharger on, and then take off. I go, well, you can't just put the turbo. Just do it! Well, but it's a mechanical. You need tools. You can't. it would take hours, So we opened the hood. It's ridiculous, So yeah, it's just a terrible movie.
How many? So I speak. Going back to the prison thing, I go up to California Men's Colony a lot to speak about recovery,
Right.
and do meetings in there.
Well,
and
that's good.
Oh, it's the highlight of my life.
Yeah.
I drive 3.5 hours to get there. I speak for 15 minutes, and I drive home floating. So Danny Masterson is there from the '70s show. He's doing got sentenced to 30 years, right? So I write him a letter. I get his number from Don Rio, a producer, and I go, hey, I don't know, I'm going to go up there and do a meeting. I don't know your history, but it'd be good to see you, let you know I'm thinking about you. So I go up a couple weeks later. He doesn't write me back. That's fine. I go to do the meeting. He's not at the meeting, which is whatever. This little white guy comes up to me. He goes, he's got wood tattooed to his neck, pecker wood right here.
Right.
This guy's 5'4", but he's looking down at me. Somehow, impossibly, he's looking down at me. And he's like, are you Jay? I go, yeah. He goes, I walked the yard with Danny. He's got a message for you. I go, all right, what is it? He goes, I don't remember, but I just wanted to introduce myself. Guy's doing 30 years. You can't deliver one message for him.
Wow.
But he cut off the ring on me like, hey, man, I got to talk to you.
I used to get letters from Phil Spector in prison.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you met him a lot?
No, I never met
Never?
him. He would just write me letters. Yeah, I did a prison out here, Terminal Island, I think it's down in St. Pete. And
who books that?
I'm not sure how it was. You just put yourself out there, and as somebody that works for free, just for exposure, and you get asked to do things. And as I'm waiting, I'm watching the audience come in, I see this guy. He's got a guy who looks like David Spade on a choke chain, and the guy's walking like a dog in his underpants, and he's got a leash on him, and he puts him in the front row. And every time I'd say something funny, he'd kick the guy. They left. The guy would laugh. I go, this is not the best audience.
It might have been David Spade.
Yeah, it might have been
during
David
Joe
Spade.
Dirt.
Now that you made, yeah.
Spade's a beauty.
Yeah.
I love what you said about marriage. Marry the person you wish you were. Am I getting that quote correct?
Well, yeah, I think marry your conscience. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
That's a deep dive for a comedian. I really thought about that, and I don't know if I consciously. Is that a conscious thought you have, like going into a relationship? And you also said you're always attracted to women. It was on the Graham Bensinger interview. You're always attracted to women that helped others.
Yeah.
But that's a big awareness. Have you always been a guy that's self-reflective like that you can discover that about yourself?
Well, I think so. I think I always thought I'd like to be a cop or a teacher, but then I realized I didn't have the discipline for those. And it wasn't enough show business, you know what I'm saying? And so once I got into comedy, I thought, this is what I like to do, but I'm not really helping society in any way. So if I could meet somebody who works with animals, or like my wife, she got a Nobel Peace Prize nomination.
Mavis was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize?
Yeah, well, her group, the Feminist Majority for work with the women in Afghanistan. I thought, well, here's a good way. This way I'm sort of doing something responsible and worthwhile.
Yeah.
So, it worked out okay.
I was always just attracted to the hottest. And then whatever consequences be damned, you go to they wind up to be crazy.
Well, it's too funny. I remember having this discussion with Matt Lauer, and we're talking about a woman. A buddy of mine had this girlfriend. He said she's crazy, but the sex is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I said to him, no, well, that's true. But I said, problem is when the sex is over, she's still crazy.
Yeah, 23.
So now you have 23 hours of crazy until the sex hour comes around again. And when you have that 40 minutes, if you can go that long, whatever it might be, you don't think, but it's crazy. That was so funny.
But Mavis was super involved in something. Do you think that's the key to generalizing to a good relationship? Because Jeannie's the first wife I've had with a long career.
Here's the thing.
Going to work every day.
You're a performer. That comes first. Everything else is second. And if you have a partner, hopefully they'll be equal. If you can get them equal to the show business, that's real good.
Get what equal to?
Well, I mean, just
Their
the
passion level?
No, importance of what counts. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Yeah, like to me, I always say to comics, male comics, if your girlfriend asks, why do you have to work every night? Get another girlfriend, okay? It's not going to last. You're a comic first, okay?
Yeah.
You know, okay, that's what you do. They have to sort of know that. And my wife was always great there because I worked every night. I was always trying to, because that's what your self-worth is as a performer.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So you're not going to be happy with somebody else until you're happy with yourself.
Yes.
And so that's why it was the perfect relationship for me. And it still is. It still is,
I did 20. My most prized possession, other than my wedding ring, is a pink Post-it note that Tracy Fisk handed me during a commercial break during one of my Tonight Show appearances. And it was just in pen on a pink Post-it note, and she just put it on her finger and showed it to you. This is Jay's 20th appearance.
Oh, all right.
That's framed next to my bed.
Oh, that's funny.
I can't tell you what that meant to me, because you just show up. Because you guys would always have me on with politicians as the second guest.
Right.
Like, we don't know how this will go. We know he'll come and shoot fish in a barrel.
Right.
That's my understanding of it.
Right, yeah.
I remember I was on with Mitt Romney once,
Yeah.
and I had the dressing room where there was just the sliding, kind of wooden sliding door between the dressing rooms.
Right.
And like a creep, I eavesdropped.
Right.
And he went to hair and makeup, and I was eavesdropping on his kids, all 40 of them,
Right.
what they were saying when the dad wasn't there. And I remember one of his sons saying, my biggest fear is that people will think Dad is too good to be true. And somebody goes, yeah, they'll think it's all an act.
Right.
And I thought, this is how his kids talk about him when he's not around.
But that's good, isn't it?
It's like a ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's.
He was a great guy. He's a nice. I like Mitt Romney. I fixed a couple of his cars. He'd bring them to the garage.
Really?
Well, his dad was president of American Motors.
Yeah.
And he's a car guy. He had a 53 Nash, and it wasn't running right. So we tuned it up for him and got it going good. And he is a very nice guy. He just looks so Republican.
Yeah.
And he probably was too good to be true. When his wife got muscular dystrophy, I think it was, or multiple sclerosis, I can't remember. He quit. He quit everything for 6 months to take care of her. And you go, oh, that's a real guy. It was so funny. When he lost, he was sitting in his hotel room, and he's in the bedroom, and the Secret Service and everybody's in the other room. So at 1 a.m., they announced the winner, Barack Obama. He goes, well, let me go out and tell the stat. He walks out. Everybody's gone. Secret Service, everybody. He doesn't even have a ride home. He calls a friend to come pick him up at the hotel to take him to his house. Because once the election is over and you're not a candidate,
That's amazing.
It's like, real Secret Service, everything. They just, gig's over.
It's like out of a Bob Fosse movie.
Oh, yeah, hilarious. Yeah.
What's your dream panel? Like, if you ever like just lay in bed at night, like on the Tonight Show, who would be like your dream panel if you could mix and match?
To me, I don't want to mix and match. I like perchance. I like random. Chance is what makes life exciting and fun and different, and you have to use your wits. If I have to plan it out, like, to me, my favorite thing is, having one comedian is funny. On my show, we're going to have 5 comedians. Well, it's not going to be 5 times as funny, because one is going to pull back and one's going to be louder than the other, and they'll step on each other. It just doesn't work that way.
You know what? It's amazing you said that, because I was just watching when George Carlin and Richard Pryor were on The Tonight Show with Johnny, and I went into the YouTube clip thinking, oh, here we go. It's the most boring. They're so respectful of each other that nobody says anything.
You don't want to jump on somebody else's line. Exactly. It's like 2 people in show business together, and those marriages don't really work out because you're both fighting for the mirror. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Really. Yeah.
You told me once you see show business as a real. First of all, I'm so grateful that I'm able to say Jay Leno told me once, because I used to watch you on The Tonight Show when I was in like junior high, because you're so much older than me, Jay.
That's right. I am. How old are you?
54.
Okay, so yeah, I'm 20 years older than you.
I was making
30
a joke.
years.
I didn't even
20
know
years older.
to 30. Jesus.
20 years older, yeah.
You said once you see show business as a giant single file line. Every comedian, do you remember telling me this? Every comedian's in this long line, and every time a guy goes to get laid, he steps out of line. I move up one spot. One guy goes to get high. I move. One guy goes to rehab.
What that was is the Improv in New York in those days. You lined up at 6 o'clock to get a spot that night. So I'd get there at 5:30, you know, and there'd be 3 or 4 people ahead of me. And inevitably, by 8 or 9 o'clock, somebody go, "This sucks, I'm not waiting long." Great. They step on the line and I move forward. But that's where it came from. Yeah, that's where it came from. Yeah,
you just never got out of line. Like you're still in line.
I never got out of line. I'm still in line. Yeah.
What's your writing? I write a lot on stage, and I'll take a sentence from my day, and I'll just bring that sentence.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do. I'm dyslexic, so I don't have anything written down.
I don't either.
No, I just kind of like to. I figure if I remember it, it's funny, and I try to.
But you write jokes. I'm not a good writer, but I'm a great reporter.
Yeah,
about
you're
things
a great
that already
reporter.
happened to me.
Yeah. No, I think I enjoy watching you. I enjoy watching how you think and come up with stuff.
There's the clip we're using, boys.
Sometimes it's fun to write jokes, you know. Rodney was always a favorite of mine because comedy is the economy of words. It's the idea of the fewest amount of words to get a joke done. And I mean, a good example, this joke works really good. I say, I had my first AI experience the other day. I got flipped off by a driverless car. It gets a big laugh just because it's so stupid. But you're not wasting people's time. They're not hanging on you. Because the longer they wait, okay, this better be funny. Rodney was great at that, you know.
See, I'm the opposite. I like that pause. Well, that's not true because I put like booby traps on the way to the
but
main
you have
thing.
jokes. You have some. You know, it's like spinning plates in a Sullivan show. You got to keep the plates spinning. So you keep the plate spinning. If a plate falls off, another falls off. That doesn't. But you always have an impression or a little twist or a funny phraseology of some kind that gives you a kicker along the way.
I always looked at it like those old switchboards in the 50s where you have to plug in. Like the whole hour I'm up there. It's just, this can go here. Sometimes I'll open with my closer, and then it's like, now who are you going to connect and how? Rodney, remember when he was super old, he would go to the Laugh Factory and do spots, and he wore an IFB, and his wife would be in the balcony reading his jokes to him.
Right,
and he would just repeat it.
You know, she was great.
Great, but here's what happened one night. She's in the balcony and she's saying the joke. Me and my dad used to play hide and go fuck you. Me and my dad used to play hide and go fuck yourself. Yeah. So I go watch this to Jamie Masada and Dane Cook. I go watch this. I go upstairs and I go up behind her and I poke her ribs like this and she goes, "Ooh!" And Rodney downstairs on stage goes, "Ooh!" He just repeated everything she says.
That's funny.
I'm gonna take that one with me. What's it like having a sibling 10 years older? Mine's are 5 or 6, but 10 years seems like you don't even have the same parents.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my brother and I couldn't have been more opposite. I mean, he's a great brother, just different.
Patrick.
Yeah. He got the Scotch side, the bad teeth, the thinning hair. Oh, I got the Italian stuff, There you go. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so scared. You got that half Italian in you with those nice tan forearms.
Yeah, that's me.
I look like something that got left in a microwave too long.
Yeah, there you go. It was great. My brother was a model builder. He was in the military.
Vietnam War veteran.
Yeah.
You ever think about joining the military?
I thought about it.
I did too.
But I realized I have great respect for it. I enjoy doing military stuff. I remember we went to, I remember Desert Storm. I remember we land there and we get in a helicopter. And it's a 90-minute helicopter ride out to it's like 120 degrees near Kuwait. So the helicopter lands, and there are like a half a dozen tanks in the sand. I said, "Where's the show?" "You just stand on the tank." "What? Stand on the tank?" "All right." "Is there a microphone?" "Microphone? No." I'm thinking, this is awful, So they all sit around in the circle, right? Tell the first joke. I mean, these guys hadn't heard a new joke in a year. So they're like dying. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, oh, I got to get more of these Coity tank shows. These are fabulous.
Who books that?
The best audience. Yeah, they were great. I mean, it was great. Yeah.
You know, going back to that thing about not having an opener, I've learned when I've had an opener and I'm paying an opener, eventually, if I don't bring that opener, they get mad that I'm no longer paying them to be my opener. I had a roommate in New York that my business manager called me and goes, so how good friends are you with this guy? I go, he's like my best friend. He goes, well, he hasn't paid rent. I go, this month? He goes, no, ever. And I confronted the guy and I said, you have never paid rent. He goes, well, you canceled the DC Improv.
Yeah, well, that,
because I didn't do this particular show to go do a movie, he no longer could pay me rent. Like, it was on me. So maybe you're onto something, just traveling solo.
Yeah,
like a lone
I
wolf.
like to travel solo. Plus, to me, unless the act represents you,
How could it?
I do an awful lot of clean shows. I mean, that's where the money is. You know, half the money's in the other kind of shows, but the other half. You ever watch dry bar comedy?
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've watched Adam Carolla completely.
Yeah, I told him
change.
I told him to do that. I said, see if you can do it for the discipline of it.
He's on his third one.
Yeah, and now you're doing comedy that's accessible to everybody. Because I meet comedians now. I just do this kind of. I
hate
this
them.
kind of.
Again, the dumbest generation right now.
Yeah,
Going back to the
so
first
to
thing
me,
we're-
you should be able to play. You know, I booked myself at Oral Roberts University once. And I said, what's this going to be like? And they said, no drug jokes, no sex jokes. Politics, okay? Yeah, politics, okay. They laughed. They were great. They were great. They just don't want to hear this. I mean, I'm always amazed when I meet comics that brag about, so that audience was so pissed off when I got off stage. I go, really?
So let me get your opinion on this. That's why I always have this about guys like Andy Kaufman. I'm supposed to just revel in how brilliant they are. And yes, he's brilliant, but it seems like some guys take a perverse pleasure in walking an audience, like as a performance art.
Well, I get that. I get that too. I don't think Andy's the best example because Andy was really good. Which
makes it more confounding.
Well, he went to Graham College, and I would drive to Boston, drive to New York, not every night, but 3 or 4 nights a week when I was in college, just to get on stage at the Improv. And sometimes I take Andy with me, and I used to feel sorry for him because he had no jokes. Like, he just seemed like an autistic guy with doing Mickey Mouse or whatever. I mean, what's the super
Mighty Mouse.
Mighty Mouse to save the day, you know. And then I realized
that I love.
Then I realized, no, I'm the one that's wrong here. This is the type of comedy I don't do. Just respect the art. It's different than what you do. It's like rock and roll and rap. For the longest period, these two couldn't have been more opposed to each other. But then you realize they're both music. So
Run DMC and Aerosmith come together.
Well, that's right. And you go, okay, so then that works. Okay, so one never's going to appeal to the other, but then it melds. And that's what Andy did. So that's whenever I see comedy that's always a bit strange. I never like it when the audience is not in on the joke. And, you know, the trick is to make the audience feel uncomfortable.
You don't do crowd work ever?
I do crowd work a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. I used to do it a lot more.
Well, Jimmy does it a lot. Brogan.
Jimmy does it a lot.
One of your buddies.
Yeah, and since Jimmy and I work together a lot, I don't do it.
But you guys seem like nice guy crowd work. Like Kevin Nealon's a super nice guy that does
Kevin
crowd
Nealon
work.
is brilliant.
It seems like crowd work has just become bullying.
Well, it does seem like bullying. I don't quite get that. You know, to me, like people say, how do you deal with hecklers? I really don't get them.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, my attitude, if there's a big fat guy heckling me in the audience, I make fun of his tie. And the guy will sense, why is he not? I'll go, where'd you get that tie, sir? You know, whatever it might be. And then, he's not making fun of my weight. Okay, now you've got kind of an ally. You know, I would see, and then the crowd sees that you're not going for blood. You know, I don't have to kill this guy. I just have to calm him down. And crowds think as one person. If you pick on a guy and you're really nasty and mean to him, the crowd will hate you.
Well,
but if you,
it's also Lord of the Flies. Like, okay, it's not me. Get him.
Well, yeah, but for the most part, it's not always, of course, but to me, I would find that would happen, and then the rest of the crowd would, okay,
yeah,
sort of quiet down. But that's just me.
You're right though. We don't. I'm not going to put myself at your level, but at your level
You're my level. What do you, my level? What do you
my level, it's not heckling as much as it's somebody it's always in the very front row, and they just repeat everything you said.
Yeah, you get that a lot.
And you're the only one that hears it. So when you snap on them, the crowd has no idea what you're talking about.
Right, yeah.
And they think you had a stroke.
Yeah.
You're like, God, you want to shut the fuck up? And everyone's like, whoa, hey, whoa.
Yeah, sometimes you have to go, sir, can you not, think.
My move is, listen, you said something very key there was you make him an ally, is I'll say, listen, you got to be quiet because I don't want them to throw you out.
Right.
With that sentence, I make them and us.
Yeah. Like Billy the Bouncer with the knife.
Oh, did he do time? Did he go to Walpole?
Yeah, he did. He did time, yeah.
For what? For murder?
For murder,
You can't even kill anybody.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I think they pick on real criminals instead of hassling,
Is there a guest that really surprised you? Like maybe this sin was having your own preconceived notion of how the interview would go, and then they completely blew the doors off?
There are certain people. Do you know who Story Musgrove is?
No.
He's an astronaut. Okay. Now,
Story?
Yeah, that's his name.
Musgrove.
He was one of the astronauts. Now, I love Buzz Aldrin, great guy. But when you say to Buzz, what's it like to walk on the moon? Cool. Okay. He's a fighter pilot. He's a jock. He doesn't expect. I mean, American hero, great guy. And he's funny too. A great guy. Story Musgrove, he comes out and he's talking about space, and he makes it seem like the most exciting. Everything from the vast emptiness to the so-and-so. And you realize, boy, this guy is a real storyteller, and he was an astronaut who could break it down into words and images that make you want to do it. Because really, you're just sitting in a garbage can with a little window.
Oh wow!
Fried, you're traveling at 22,000 miles a minute or second or whatever the hell it is. And it's horrible. It's horrible. But he just made it seem so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of thing was always cool. Yeah.
Would you go to space if they said, one of those?
Doesn't really interest me.
No?
No, it's okay. You know what it is? I'm a performer, so I'm so far away from the audience. It doesn't seem like I'm. I mean, it's okay. It's interesting, but the sad thing is when you see the recreated, the artist's conception of what it is. And then you see what it really is. Oh, the artist's conception is always better. Because there's a giant crab in the background or some sort of monster. I mean, you can't conceive of how empty space is.
I love that Eddie Izzard bit a long time ago when he said if Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, if they had jokes, if when they landed on the moon, if they just looked off camera and went and just ran away, it just didn't come back.
Yeah, that's funny.
What's the best heckle you've ever heard?
Best heckle?
And in full disclosure, I have one keyed up.
Well, give me yours. Go ahead.
So our friend Greg Baldwin was doing an all-black room. He was the only white guy. And they actually, during the show, the mic kept buzzing. Bzz. And then eventually the guy comes out, the owner of the place goes, all right, y'all, we figured it out. Somebody keeps putting the chicken in the microwave, and when they put the microwave on, it makes the microphone buzz. So please, y'all, do not put chicken in the microwave. Yeah. And then 2 comics later, then Greg goes up, and he's bombing. And an old guy in the back goes, man, put the chicken in the microwave. That's the greatest one I've ever heard.
Billy Crystal, you have a bit about. He was in a theater in Harlem or somewhere, probably a black audience, when Jaws was playing, and a guy yelled, "Don't be going for no dip now, girl."
Billy, I love Billy. On the old SNLs, would actually get away with blackface. He,
know what it is? I mean,
because it's the respect he brings to it.
Yeah, he brings respect to it. It was kindness,
the Negro League sketches.
It was a true impression.
Yeah.
It wasn't
every Tuesday night was smelt night. You go to the ballpark, you smell that smelt cooking from a mile away.
Great. He was great. Well, what's so funny? If you've ever watched Amos and Andy.
Oh, it's horrifying to me.
And you watch Kingfish, great comic.
Right, but
I mean, Well, it's interesting to me. This is one of those things, a discussion you can't have because people think you're. But I remember watching as a kid, and everybody who was not Amos and Andy were regular people. The black judge was not a caricature. He was a real judge. The black policeman was a policeman. And the only fools, really, were Amos and Andy and Lightning. Remember the Lightning?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it seems okay. And when people really came out against the show, look, I'm not black, so I can't obviously. But I thought it was such a shame because he was such a great comic when he would look, and the tricks he would play with Andy when he takes him to Central Park to convince him it's the Grand Canyon. Remember, and he has different signs up. And it was really good, but you feel bad about laughing about it because it's become such a stereotype for. But he really was a great comic.
He was a great comic. It's just blackface to me is terrifying. Like not terrifying socially. Like I'm afraid. Like it really scares me. So I don't know. I see like old minstrel shows that I purposely look up.
Yeah.
And it's really like spooky. Like I don't know. I'm glad we're done with it. But
I agree. I agree. And you can't.
This is complete coincidence. I'm asking this question now, but you were on Good Times,
right?
My favorite show of all time, and really? I remember you played like a tough guy.
No, I played a guy in a VD clinic.
Oh, that was Charles Fleischer. God, and I would never confuse you with Charles Fleischer.
Yeah, that's all right.
You're too kind and beautiful person.
I like Charlie. Yeah.
You played the guy. Oh, that's right, JJ. Oh, yeah. So you were the guy in the VD clinic, and I believe the name of the episode was JJ's Got Trouble.
Yeah, right. Yeah, JJ Gets VD. And that's when, that was real controversial.
Yeah, it was.
Show back in the day.
Was Jimmy Walker, John Amos, Michael was like the young militant brother.
Right.
Boy is a white generated word to keep us down. And my first, I wouldn't even say it was a crush because it was blind lust, was Delma, the sister.
Oh, yeah, she was pretty, yeah.
Oh, is she as hot in person as...
Right. Yeah, I guess so.
Don't even answer that.
I mean, I was years
when
ago.
I did my first sitcom. The cameramen on my sitcom Camp Wilder were cameramen on Welcome Back, Kotter and Good Times, and they just said it was nothing but like a weed smoking. That was just how people were.
It's so funny. I went with Travolta to the pilot of Welcome Back, Kotter.
Mr. Kotter.
Yeah, that's right. And they did a thing where they threw a paper airplane. And it went in a perfect loop and then stuck in Gabe Kaplan's afro. And I went, boy, how do you do that? It was purely by chance.
Oh, really?
But how did they do that? That's a great stunt. But first take, guy threw it and went, and and Gabe obviously had the foresight to, react to it. And
Ed Ames moment.
Yeah, but it's funny, yeah.
Do you, I loved... we did a sketch on Saturday Night Live where it was Quentin Tarantino directs Welcome Back, Kotter.
Oh, that's
because
funny.
We had Travolta
and
we brought in Buscemi, and I said I have to be in this sketch, but I need to play Mr. Woodman.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, okay, Kotter, and I got to play Mr. Woodman.
Oh, that's funny.
So you write articles for Popular Mechanics?
No, I used to write. I write for Octane. I write for the Haggerty magazine.
Dan Haggerty?
No,
amazing.
Haggerty. Actually, Haggerty is the biggest car magazine in the world. It's Haggerty Insurance. Yeah.
How often
Every month.
Every month. Do you ever have that stress? Like, I don't have anything to write this month.
No, I can usually come up with something. Because I usually have projects I'm working on. And I usually take that and just write out.
And car guys like just learning, like, and then I'm going to take the manifold and put it into the gasket pipe.
Exactly. You put the manifold into the gasket. I can tell that you're really car guy. Really surprising.
What's something you haven't done that you want to do professionally?
I'm trying to get out of stuff. I'm not one of. I would love to direct.
I'm going to let you get out of this right now.
I don't want to direct. I don't want to do. You know what directing means? You can't go home. You go home last.
Yeah.
You have to wait for everybody.
Write joke. The toilet, my trailer doesn't work.
Get check.
Yeah.
Right.
Look at me on my terms.
Tell joke. Get check.
Pay attention to me on my terms.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Well, I'm gonna let you get out of this, buddy. What a pleasure.
Are we all done?
We're all done.
All right.
That's it. We lose the studio.
All right. Well, thanks.
My man.
What happened?
You've always been. Time flies when you're having fun.
Jesus.
You've always been a good friend. I really appreciate you.
Appreciate it. What's that?
More stories.
Jay Mohr's my uncle.